Good morning and bonjour. Welcome to the venue Sri Aurobindo Auditorium. And this morning, our guest, Dr. Seth, will be inaugurating Auroville Spic Macay chapter. So we invite Dr. Seth, Dr. Jayanti Ravi, and Mr. Ramesh to come and light the lamp.
So we're just going to have some of our school students singing a couple of songs to welcome you. So these are from our school in Auroville. So thank you.
Sa 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 ga pa ga ga pa morning, namaskaram, suswagatam. I am Dr. Ramesh Vishwanathan. I work as a volunteer and as a chairperson of Spic, Macay, Pondicherry. It's making me nervous because I was a student with Dr. Kiran Seth 40 years back, and to share a stage with him is something which I never dreamt of. And the most apt thing which happened today was the students singing the Tamil song and talking about Kashmir to Kanyakumari or Kanyakumari to Kashmir, which is exactly what Dr. Kiran Seth has been doing. He's on a cycle yatra from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. So you can very well imagine for the last 7 to 8 months, he's on a continuous journey. And I think I am not going to come in between you and Dr. Seth and Dr. Jayanti Ravi. We will inaugurate the chapter. Dr. Jayanti S. Ravi will speak, and then Kiran Seth ji will share his experiences on journey of Spic Macay and his what you call how he interacted during this Kashmir to Kanyakumari journey. And then maybe towards the end we have a 10 minutes video about Spic Macay. It's a long video, but I know it is difficult for children to be waiting for that long, but I'll micromanage it from the back, how long this video should be played, and then we have a vote of thanks at the end of the event. That's about the nature of the program today. So now, Jayanti madam.
I think I'm going to keep it a conversation for all the children. So I'll ask you questions also, and you have to answer it. Is that okay, all the children? I'm not hearing a loud enough okay. Puriyada? Puriyada? Yes, okay. And of course, there is a child in all of us. So, because I think you should all know who is this gentleman who's sitting with us. We're very, very, very lucky today that he's there. I'm going to tell you a story. You want to listen to it? So when I was like you and a little older, I went to a college not very far from this place. You've all been to Chennai? How many children have been to Chennai? Raise your hand. Nearly everybody. And the adults too. It's good to do a bit of raising your hands and putting it down to keep us alive, active. So there's a college there that I joined, and before that I was into homeschooling. For 2 years I was in Africa in a place called Nigeria. Have you heard of this place? Where is it? Which part of Africa? South Africa, Eastern Africa, Western Africa, Northern Africa. Where is it? Well, West Africa. Okay. Now you know that where is Nigeria, and go back and look at the map later if possible today. Would you like to do that? So I'm not hearing anything from this side. So when I studied and came to Chennai and enrolled in a college there called Stella Maris College. You see, I had been exposed to music, dance, all of that. I came from a family, my parents are also sitting here today, who were very conscious of giving me a lot of exposure to music, literature, art. My mother herself is a great Sanskrit scholar, so all of this was there. But when I came to college, sometimes, you would feel a little shy about owning up your own identity. Puriyada, do you understand what I'm saying? Sometimes you feel like, something spoken in English, something which is Western seems more popular, more cool. You experience that sometimes? Eating pizza seems a little cooler than eating something that is a delicacy made in India, our own dishes. I'm not saying you dislike one or you like another, but it's good to have that sense of pride and a bit of equipoised attitude for both. You equally can like both, isn't it? But sometimes the peer pressure, what is peer pressure? Big word for all of you. If the rest of your classmates feel that something is good, something is not good, we also get carried away, right? So it was probably felt in a lot of young people then that rock music, ABBA was one, ABBA, Boney M, all those were the sensations back then. That was considered more popular, more cool. And if you did classical music, etc., it was not considered very cool. Are you able to understand me? Yes? No? So, we went to college and there was a great opportunity for making a difference not only within us, but for the whole college. Not just one college, but a group of colleges, the whole of Tamil Nadu, in a small but a very definite way. So that was when Spic Macay came into my life. I'm talking of the year 1984. How many years ago is that? Huh? You'll have to do some math and tell me. How many years ago? Huh? Nearly 40 years ago. All right. So, I had my first opportunity of being interviewed on television at that time, because I was one of the people, like we are all lighting a lamp today and inaugurating the Spic Macay. What is Spic Macay? It sounds like a very Western word, no? Spic Macay. But what is the full form? Society, repeat after me. For the promotion of Indian classical music and culture, am I right? Amongst youth. Will you remember it? It may seem like a long thing, but you all have to remember it. And that was what the seed of that was put in many of us when we were in college. So just as we lit the lamp today, I remember back then it was a concert by one of the top flute players of Tamil Nadu, a Vidwan called N. Ramani ji. It's still very vivid in my eyes. We lit a lamp in my college, and I was also one of them. Like today, I had the privilege of inaugurating or being a part of the inauguration of the Spic Macay chapter in my college. And then, of course, around then, we had a series of concerts in Chennai. We would have some of the top artists, whether it is Pandit Zakir Hussain. Have you heard of Zakir Hussain? Ustad Zakir Hussain. What does he do? Yenna Vasipar. No, somebody else said the right thing also. Who said tabla? Wonderful. So he's a great tabla player. So he had come to one of our colleges. Then somebody called Pandit Hari Prasad Chaurasia. What does he play? Flute. He had come. Then of course Lalgudi Jayaramanji, who was a great violin maestro. A bunch of people like that, top artists. And we as college children like you, we were also young. We had the opportunity to sit like this with them, talk to them, ask them about music, about what kind of a life of practice, discipline, devotion they had to have to really excel and be top musicians, ambassadors of India and humanity across the globe. And at that time, I want to share a little bit of Kiran Seth ji. I still remember there was a program in our college. There was a brand new building which was all still full of a lot of cement on the floor. It was still getting readied. And we decided to hold the conference there. It's a big new building, now of course 40 years old, in Stella Maris College in Chennai. So we were wondering how to clean it up, right? You know what he taught us, and it's still sort of imprinted, tattooed in my mind. He took a bucket of water, dipped a mop in it, and actually started doing mopping. Do you understand what he did? And so he didn't have to give us a lecture. He didn't tell us you should do this, you should not do this. He, by practicing what he professed, I think he inspired a lot of us. We all picked up the broom, mop, cleaned the place, started with everything, cleaning the physical space, getting the windows. There was a lot of echo because it's a new building. So we had to put some jute. And there was also this culture that don't use anything which is plastic back then. Today, of course, we talk of recycle, reuse, reduce. But he said, let's use torans made of what and not of what? Not plastic toran. You know, you have those small things that you hang, triangles. Instead, it was decided that you take leaves of Ashoka tree, which we also called Asopala. You heard of that? Maavela. And then adula vandu, you had to make small little torans of it, hang it, marigold flowers. So we did a lot of work like that. So the idea was to promote everything Indian, but not in an aggressive way, not with any hatred for any other, but with a lot of compassion, but also pride in your own identity. And similarly, there was a program in IIT Madras. It also taught us sometimes you have to deal with people of different moods, temperaments, natures. Have you seen that? Have you dealt with anybody who is very angry all the time? Any of you? Who has not dealt with somebody who is very angry? Huh? So, sometimes artists too have their nature. So I remember on one such occasion, there was an artist like that who was there in a program, and the stage opened. This was at IIT Madras. You've heard of IIT Madras? The stage opens, and whom do we see on the stage with a broom in hand cleaning up the stage? Because the artist was complaining. It was a top dancer of the country. And the artist complained that the stage has things that will hurt my feet. So we had Dr. Kiran Seth. That is the kind of humility he personifies. That's the kind of, and he was a top professor at IIT Delhi. He's just retired recently. So somebody who set up this whole organization, but in every detail, we were also told to be self-sufficient, self-supporting in terms of funds, right? So any program, we would not get grants from the government or donation from anywhere. We had to ourselves go and raise the funds. We were college students. So we would go to a place in Madras called Mount Road, take all the, the brochures, the details, the tariff card, and go to every shop there, every office there, and request them to give us some funding for this. And you know what would happen? In 9 out of 10 shops, we would be thrown out as if we are a piece of unwanted material because you've come to collect donation. Do you understand? Huh? But that also taught us that even if somebody rejects you or somebody says, no, get lost, you shouldn't give up. We have to persevere, because if your cause is right, if you're doing something with commitment, devotion, dedication, it's okay if people oppose it. That doesn't matter. We have to continue. And then slowly we started seeing that the people who would donate, give sponsorships, participate, started increasing, because they thought and saw for themselves that these young people are not doing anything which is incorrect. On the contrary, they are promoting Indian values, Indian music, and really trying to create harmony, goodwill, and all that. So I'm very, very happy today that we have Dr. Kiran Seth. I've been sort of watching him over all these years and had the privilege even much later in Gujarat as the Commissioner of Higher Education, Technical Education, Schools. I've had the privilege of working with him and seeing the kind of phenomenal work he's been doing. And today I'm very happy that in Auroville too, we are starting this chapter. So what this means is that we'll have some of the top artists, not just music, dance, theatre, it could be even sculpture, different forms of art and culture of India. They will all, you will have access to going to meet them. They will come here, do lecture demonstrations for you, provide full concerts. So it will give you an opportunity to taste and develop a taste for something which for lifelong will be a very beautiful treasure for each one of you. All right, so let's give a big round of applause and thank you to Dr. Kiran Seth for a full lifetime of commitment to this. And he himself, it's not as if he's a great practitioner of music or dance himself, but he saw this and he'll tell you his story, how he was in the US and how he attended a festival of India and how that transformed him. I want him to share all that with us, to say that the value of something that we inherit, you may have this language, Tamil language with us. There's so many things we inherit. Sometimes we don't realize the value of it. We think, it's okay. It's more cool to be speaking other languages. Every language is good. But I think to have that pride in our legacy, our heritage is also very important, right? And I think that's what he has taught millions of young people in India without going and lecturing, without fighting with them, without talking down at them, but in a very gentle, beautiful, simple way. And these are all the lamps he has lit. Once again, thank you so much, Kiranji, for being with us. And we hope Auroville, which is a very special township, and it embodies the theme of G20 much before. In 1968, it was founded by Mother, the spiritual collaborator of Sri Aurobindo, and actually founded as a city which will really synthesize material and the spiritual, the infinite and the infinitesimal. You have to be as perfect in dealing with small things as with huge things, where people from all over the world can come and stay together in unity, which means being anchored in the divine. And it was meant to be a place where beauty, harmony, abundance, aesthetics, all forms of art can coexist. So I would also like to welcome Spic Macay and all the volunteers of Spic Macay to come here, have their retreats, workshops. Even if there are programs that you would like to do, we'll be very happy in our own way to facilitate and be a part of this beautiful work you're doing. And this year we have the G20 delegation also visiting here tomorrow to do with science, the S20. We're very happy that this is a part of that. It is also the 150th birth anniversary of Sri Aurobindo. And there are 5 dreams that he gave to us about a free and united India, a resurgent Asia, about a brighter, nobler, greater world. Because you see, when you have love for your country, it's called patriotism, right? What is patriotism? Love for your country. But when that love has an ideology with it, we call it nationalism. But when that ideology is not about hating the other or limiting, when it can go beyond the nation and be international, then we really get towards what is known as internationalism. And I think Sri Aurobindo, one of the great sons of India, was somebody who spoke about nationalism truly leading to internationalism. And the 4th dream was about India's spiritual gift to the whole world, which is what Auroville is also a part of that, and all that is happening. And 5th, he also said about evolution, that there was a point in history where probably the animals, which were physically stronger, would have considered themselves the strongest and the most powerful. But then came man with a mind that could analyze, logically think, right? Discretion. And therefore we realize that the mind, man with a mental power, is stronger than that. But he believed, Sri Aurobindo believed, that that's not complete. We still have to evolve, and there will be a being which is beyond the mind, because the mind still tends to divide between me and the other. Ego comes in. So we have to rise above that and really have that constantly live, feel, and be that self which can see oneness in all this diversity, and diversity anchored in that oneness. So we're very happy that you're here, Kiranji. Taken a lot of time, but thank you so much for your presence, and one big appreciation, gratitude to him.
So, I know you all have waited a long time, and I've found out that I'll speak for 20 minutes, right? I'm very little particular about the time also, so I won't keep you more than 20 minutes. First of all, I'd like to thank Jayanti Raviji for the lovely talk that she gave, and also, as she mentioned, we have been in touch with each other for a long period of time. I also thank her for helping us organize this. I thank Sudhaji and from the Auroville group here, and many other people from the Auroville group, and Ramesh, who's the backbone of the movement here in this Puducherry area, and he's also very, very knowledgeable about classical music and has given a very big contribution to the movement. We also have Shobha, who's there. And I'd also like to acknowledge the presence of my host here in Puducherry, Lalit, who is running a wonderful gallery, which I'm sure many of you have seen. Those who have not should go and see the gallery which he has, and also see the programs that he conducts. He's really a lover of the arts, and he's also a very great devotee of Sri Aurobindo, and very giving and big-hearted person. I also would like to acknowledge a few other people whom I met, whom we can all learn from. There is Kiran Vyas and Priya Vyas. They are in Paris, and they are propagating our heritage there. He runs a beautiful Ayurvedic center, yoga, music. I was very impressed by what he's doing in France. We also have Mr. Rao, who's in Singapore, and he's doing something also very similar in Singapore. So we have people working all over the world for something. It must be a little valuable, huh? Because why are they spending so much time on it? They spent their whole lives on it. There must be something valuable, right? So as Jayanti said just now, that while we appreciate what's happening in other parts of the world, and we must learn from what's happening in other parts of the world, we must also be able to appreciate the very subtle, the very abstract, the very inspiring, and the very mystical heritage that we have. You know, it's I think the only country in the world that has these 4 elements embedded in it. So it's like a complete thing. It is, you can't see. You're being taught to see beyond what you can see. My children, you know, what you can see, all this lovely, lovely, lovely thing, this lovely auditorium, is only 7% of what actually exists. 93% of matter and energy in the universe is dark. You cannot see it. And we make all our decisions based on this 7%. That's why our great ancestors, what did they call this? They called this 7% Maya. Why did they call it Maya? They called it Maya because whatever you get in the 7% is short-lived. You get a new shirt, you get a new cycle. After a few days, you'll get bored with it. You'll say, let me get a scooter. After that, you'll get bored with that. Then you'll say, let me get a car. So everything in this 7%, mind you, is very short-lived. And our ancestors understood this. So what they did was they designed techniques by which we could get a glimpse of that 93%. Please remember our classical music, our classical dance. All this is not music and dance. Music and dance is just being used as a medium to go into those realms which you cannot see, but you can feel. So, my dear children, we must all learn these techniques because they are time-tested. They have been tested from way back, thousands of years, experimented, passed down, experimented, passed down, experimented, passed down. That doesn't mean you must neglect the West. Remember, the West has given all these things, this mic, this laptop. What great things the West has given us. This cell phone, you can dial and you can talk to somebody in Jhumri Talaiya. You can type a command and the rover on Mars will move 1 foot to the left. What a beautiful thing. So never deride the West. But what is the difference? The difference is in the approach. We both are going towards the same point, but difference is in the approach. The Western approach is that nothing is true till it's proven experimentally. In our country, nothing is true till it's proven experientially. So the approach is only different. I'll give you a small example, especially for the students here. See, if you're feeling hot, how will a Westerner look at the problem? The Westerner will say, look, I'm feeling hot. If I twirl the air around, I should feel cool. So I develop the fan. No, I'm still feeling hot. Expansion of gases has an effect. I develop the air conditioner, which we all are using. How would traditionally this part of the world look at the same problem? They'll say, look, I'm feeling hot because the surrounding air is hot, it touches my skin, it sends an impulse to my brain, the response to that impulse makes me feel hot. What if I can break this impulse response chain? I should feel cool. So what do? I get into Padmasana and make my whole body as a laboratory. And I experiment with that. Very scientifically, mind you. I try this, I try that, I try that. And one day after many years, I say, I got it. I know how to do it. And I tell a student, come, I'll take you, I'll teach you how to do it. You say, no, sir, I'll go to engineering college and I'll see it in the refrigeration and air conditioning lab. And rightfully so. See, what happens is, if you mix two chemicals in a lab, you can see the color changing. But here our ancestors would mix 1,000 chemicals inside. And you couldn't see the color changing, but you could feel the color changing. And that too with a delayed response. So we are knocked out on 2 counts. In this day and age of Twitter, Instagram, where everything is wanted instantaneously, we get knocked out on 2 counts. One is, it takes a delayed response. Number 2 is, you can't see it. So you tend to discount all these things. And you make them into something which they are not. For example, our classical music, our classical dance today is being made into something which it's not. I can tell you this. And unless all you young people develop that eye of a diamond merchant, a diamond merchant can make out the difference between a diamond and a polished glass piece. Today I can polish a glass piece, put it into a nice box and pass it off as a diamond to you. So my dear students, please don't let these wonderful things that we have got in our heritage slip out of your hands. It's a very difficult task, I know. But at least you must make an effort. You must make an effort. Before I talk of anything else, I'm going to talk of something which is very pertinent to you as students. Don't mind, I'm directing it more towards the students, but that's what the aim of Spic Macay is. I would love to have spoken to the senior people in a different setting, but I have to direct it to the students. First of all, they're in the majority. And also because Spic Macay is directed towards them. My dear students, what is the most important? You'll all want to do well in your studies, right? Do you want to do well in your studies? So what is the most important thing that you require to do well in your studies? What? Come on, somebody? Very good. Very good. Who said it? No, I wanted it from a student. Anyway, wonderful, but anyway, wonderful. See, most important thing is you have to have a laser beam concentration. So, our ancestors understood this. So what they did was, they devised different techniques by which you can make your concentration like that. Okay? Now what are the techniques? Look, I have not read the great books or any such thing. All my life I have been reading mathematics, right? But the 2 which I experienced, I'm going to share with you. And I'm also going to tell Jayanti Ravi ji and others here, I question, why is it that I got it by fluke? I question this. I got my experience with classical music. I used to sing with the guitar. I used to sing pop music in IIT. But there was a visionary staff member who used to organize a whole night of Indian classical music. And I know with what great difficulty he used to do it every year. And we used to not be interested in this, what is this business? We'd go and sit at the back, we'd play cards, go to sleep. But what he did was something remarkable. He planted a seed into me which is still growing into a massive, 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 massive tree, from which I derive nutrition for everything that I do, including this cycle yatra. The cycle yatra is not physical. It's not. So, what I'm just trying to tell you is, even yoga I learnt by fluke in Bhopal by one Mr. Rao. And I question this, why is it that we have the best of our heritage brought to why was it brought to me by fluke? So anyway, what I'm pointing out to you, I'm going to just mention these two things, right? I'll also mention to the school students one other thing. A small story, like she told you a story, I'm also going to tell you a story. I had gone to IIT Kanpur, and there I met this boy who had shining eyes like that. So I asked this boy, how are you doing? He said, sir, I'm one of the toppers. So I said, which coaching institute did you join? He said, sir, I didn't join any coaching institute. I said, which attempt is it of yours? Sir, my first attempt. So how did you do this? So he did like, he said, my school. So I said, which school was this? So he talked of one small, tiny school in 24 Parganas. So I said, what was so special about your school? So he said, sir, the whole principle of the school, it concentrated on teaching us how to concentrate. Finished. That was the bottom line. So I said, what did they do? So he said, sir, every morning the whole school had to do half an hour of yoga. So I said, that many schools do? So what's so great about that? He said, no sir, it's not like how other schools do it, where they send a PT instructor for a 6-month crash course in yoga. He comes back and teaches either PT or yoga. He said, it's also not like what you see on TV. एक पाँव के ऊपर दूसरा पाँव रखोगे, दाएं की तरफ मुड़ोगे, तो दांत का दर्द चला जाएगा. बाएं की तरफ मुड़ोगे, तो नाक का दर्द चला जाएगा. No, not like that. So I said, then what was it like? He said, it was concentrating on my mind. Now children, listen to this carefully. He said that my monkey mind, which was jumping from Amitabh Bachchan to Shah Rukh Khan to Pathan to whatever, jumping here, 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 here. He brought it within 3 sigma limits, this much. He said, fantastic. Then what happened? Then he said, sir, all the teachers in the school, they were teaching, and here I'm mentioning to the teachers also who are here, that they were teaching the subject, but all the time this element of concentration was being re-emphasized. And here I'd request the teachers, because I'm coming from Srinagar, as I said, I've come to all of you here, and the constant refrain from all the teachers and principals I've met, they have said that our children have become very, very unruly. They have become indisciplined. We don't know what to do. So this is one very important facet which has to be brought in. Then I said, then what happened? They said, after school, every student had to compulsorily do 1 hour of Indian classical music. So my concentration, which was in this much, came like that and became like a laser beam. So when I took my book of physics, chemistry or maths or whatever, what others would take many hours to do, I have to do it like this. So what I'm saying, we should be able to learn from these things, my dear children. You know? And here I will, if with your permission, at the last few minutes, when I'm in the last few minutes, I'll make you all do that little exercise, which maybe that student did, which would help you, maybe, to do well in your studies, to bring that concentration in. You know, you've all heard of Einstein? He was a great scientist, right? In one small little room in Geneva, the patent office, this great mind, what did he do? With pen, paper and mathematics, he was able to say such fantastic things, which we are using even till today. You know, in 2017, 3 physicists got the Nobel Prize for Physics for proving that what Einstein had said about the existence of gravitational waves was true. Imagine, that's the power of the human mind. You people use only this much of your mind. Really, I'm telling you. You have got capacity to do that much if these doors are opened up. And all these techniques are opening up, help you open these doors. He obviously saw a glimpse of that 93%. Otherwise, he couldn't have done that. So, you see many great people have been involved with classical music. Even Einstein used to play the classical violin. You know, one of the greatest mathematicians of the world today, he's a number theorist. His name is Professor Manjul Bhargav. He's got the Fields Medal. He is in Princeton University. And you know what he says? He's a concert-playing Indian classical musician. There's no Nobel Prize in maths. He says, when I get stuck at number theory, I go to my classical music. When I get stuck in my classical music, I go to my number theory. So my dear children, we can all learn from this, okay? I will not take more time now. I'll end off with this small little exercise. Would you like to do it? Hello? But the condition is, you know, with most of our things, you have to do it every day. If you don't do it every day, you're 40 days behind. Remember this. I'm not saying something original. Even if you want to do well in maths, you want to do well in any subject, you have to open your book every day. One day lost, 40 days behind. Okay, so we'll do this for 3-4 minutes and I'll end off. See, the children who sang, you all sang very nicely, but you're not practicing every day. I could make out. You have to practice every day. Otherwise you won't be able to sing in Swara. Right? You sang nicely, good, but you have to do much more practice. Okay? So I'll end off here. Otherwise it will become a performance. Don't make it a performance. It's an experience. Huh? The experience can only come if you practice every day. You might have a very good voice. You can sing sweetly, but no, that's not the idea of our classical music. The idea of classical music is not to give a program. The idea is to get an experience. That you must remember, okay? So I'll end off with this small little practice. You don't mind my coming forward? Yeah. I'm going to stand up and do it, okay? Now see, children, the first thing that you have to do, if you want to study well, no, that's okay. I don't need anything. That's okay. I just don't. Can I have the, this way, little bit. See, if you want to study well, if you want to concentrate, remember, you must try to be still. That's one important thing. You know what you do? You'll sit like this, then you'll sit like this, then you'll do like this, then you'll do like this. Okay? But if you must learn how to sit absolutely still. The character of concentration is it builds up, builds up, builds up. As soon as you move, it falls. Again, it builds up, builds up, builds up. As soon as you move, it falls. So that's one condition you must remember. The second condition is that you must try, like what she was doing very nicely, sit with the back straight. She was telling all the children, I saw it, very nicely you were telling them. What happens is when you study, if you study like this, you'll be puss. If you study like that, you'll be able to study much better. So these are two characteristics which you must keep in mind, okay? Now I'm going to do that exercise with you, okay? First of all, you must make this mudra. What mudra is this? Chin mudra, Gyan mudra, both of them, they are called Chin mudra, Gyan mudra, right? Now you must be very careful about detail. It shouldn't be like that, it shouldn't be like this. It should be just 3 fingers together, straight, thumb and first finger touching lightly. One thing more I want to tell you, young children, is that small things, big things are hidden in small things. If you miss the small things, you'll miss the big things. How you put your chappals outside when you come in shows how deep waters you are. Remember this. Be very careful about small things. Details, okay? So this is an antenna. Antenna can't be crooked. It should be straight. Thumb and first finger touching lightly on your thighs, okay? And now I'm going to tell you something which has been done by many people, all ancestors. But it's just been tailor cut to suit you for your concentration. How? You sit straight, chin mudra on your feet, like this, on your thighs, backbone straight, and you close your eyes, because eyes are very dangerous, right? Now you listen to what I'm saying, and you'll, okay? Take a deep breath, hold, and exhale slowly. And keep the air out. Concentrate on the flow of air through the nostrils while you're breathing in and breathing out. Long inhalation, long retention, long exhalation, and long shunya. Change, don't open your eyes. Now take your concentration from your nostrils down the windpipe, down to your nabhi. And while exhaling, from the nabhi up through the windpipe and out through the nostrils. Long inhalation, long retention, long exhalation, and long shunya. Change, don't open your eyes. Now place your isht in the middle of your forehead. It could be Shri Aurobindo, it could be the mother, it could be Mahatma Gandhi, it could be Lord Shiva, it could be Lord Ram, it could be Prophet Muhammad, it could be Lord Jesus, it could be Guru Nanak Dev Ji, whomever you greatly admire, place in the middle of your forehead and full concentration on the feet of your isht. Long inhalation, long retention, long exhalation, and long shunya. Open your eyes slowly. Rub your hands, palms, put them on your eyes, and I request that nobody should clap, because this is my prayer. I have just come to share my prayer with you, okay? I just request the school teachers and principals who are here that please try this for few minutes during your assembly. I would say 6 minutes, 2 minutes of each. And you see how your maths, physics marks will go up slowly but gradually of your students. Another thing which I'd like to request the teachers who are here and the principals, that when the children are coming into school, only play classical music. When there's a break, only play classical music. When the children are going back home, only play classical music. And please do not play kritis. Don't mind my being this way. Play only the alap, like Chembai's alap, or D.K. Patamal's alap, or Ari Kudi's alap, not the kriti. You see how the abstract mind of the child will develop. Remember that our classical music is a rare combination of two types of yoga. One of bhakti yoga and the other of Gyan yoga. The Gyan part of it comes in the alap, really. So my request is the two streams of Gyan and Bhakti can be brought out if you all play the alap. What Chembai's alap is so beautiful. If you put it in the children, you see how their maths marks will go up in the course of time. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I'm sorry I've not been able to address the others who are here in a manner that maybe tell you something more about. Huh? Thank you. Thank you.
So children, thank you Kiranji, thank you Jayanti ji. I would request, before we formally inaugurate the Auroville chapter, I have a 5 minutes video which I have put specially for the children. I have indicated to the technical person. So if you can play it, it will be wonderful because this really tells what Kiranji is talking about. And please, 5 minutes, just 5 minutes.
The mystery of sound.
धीरे नीचे आएंगे, धीरे नीचे आओगे नीचे 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 नीचे। आप सांस लेते हुए ऊपर आओ, आहिस्ते 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 आहिस्ते। वेरी गुड वेरी गुड। अब क्या करेंगे? अब क्या करेंगे? सारे गामा पादा नीसा। वेरी गुड। और कौन से राग में हम गाएंगे? जोर से बोलो। भैरवी। वेरी गुड। भैरवी में गाएंगे सब लोग, ठीक है? रेडी? 1 2 3। सा रे गा मा पा धा नी सा। जोर से। सा नी धा धा मा धा रे सा। अब हम क्या करेंगे? हम गाएंगे हल्दी का नहीं, किसका स्पेशल गाना है? हाँ, समृद्ध अमरूद स्पेशल, अमरूद की मम्मी का स्पेशल। हाँ रेडी अप्रूव।
कुछ चीजों को हम छू सकते हैं, कारें, फोन, कंप्यूटर्स, आपके हाथ में लगातार चलती पेंसिल, रीबॉक के लेटेस्ट जूते, आज का अखबार। कुछ चीजें सिर्फ महसूस की जाती हैं, नई कार में बैठकर सपने पूरे होने का एहसास, नए फोन पर पहली बार अपना मनपसंद गाना, लगातार चलती पेंसिल से बना नया स्केच, आज के अखबार की हेडलाइन पढ़कर आया गुस्सा। कुछ चीजें सिर्फ महसूस की जाती। हमारा म्यूजिक, हमारा कल्चर, योगा, मेडिटेशन, हमारे फेस्टिवल, ये सब हजारों सालों से इंसान की अंदर की भूख को पूरा करते आए, वो जो महसूस की जाती है। सोसाइटी फॉर द प्रमोशन ऑफ इंडियन क्लासिकल म्यूजिक एंड कल्चर अमंगस्ट यूथ, स्पिक मैके, उन लोगों से बनी है जो महसूस करते हैं या करना चाहते हैं। बच्चे, बड़े, स्टूडेंट्स, प्रोफेशनल्स, टीचर्स, डॉक्टर्स, फर्क ये नहीं पड़ता कि आपकी उम्र या प्रोफेशन क्या है, सवाल ये है कि आप अपने को समझने के लिए किस हद तक जाएंगे। स्पिक मैके का लोगो है दी वर्टिकल आई और द इनर आई, द आई ऑफ परसेप्शन एंड इंक्वायरी। हमारे लिए म्यूजिक, कल्चर, आर्ट, हमारी सभ्यता, फिलॉसफी वो जरिए हैं जिनसे हम अपनी अमूल्य सांस्कृतिक धरोहर को समझ पाते हैं, वो धरोहर जिसको हम वक्त के साथ साथ किसी हद तक भूलते जा रहे हैं। स्पिक मैके के हाथ और कंधे हैं स्पिक मैके के वॉलंटियर्स, वो लोग जो इस तेज रफ्तार जिंदगी के बावजूद अपनी विरासत, अपनी आइडेंटिटी, हमारे देश की आत्मा और स्वरूप के साथ जुड़े रहना चाहते हैं। हर साल स्पिक मैके के देश भर में फैले वॉलंटियर्स स्कूल्स, कॉलेजेस, इंस्टीट्यूशंस में हजारों इवेंट्स ऑर्गेनाइज करते हैं। इन इवेंट्स से हमारी सभ्यता और संस्कृति वहां पहुंचती है जहां हमारा भविष्य है, हमारा फ्यूचर है, हमारा यूथ। फिल्म, थिएटर, म्यूजिक, डांस फॉर्म्स, फोक आर्ट और इन जैसे और माध्यमों से हम लाखों लोगों तक अपनी हजारों साल की विरासत को पहुंचा पाते हैं। वो विरासत जो सिर्फ हमारी है, वो विरासत जिसको बचाना या जाने देना सिर्फ हमारे हाथ में है। वो विरासत जिसको आज हमारी जरूरत है।
Very heartfelt thank you to Dr. Kiran Sethi. We would have loved to listen to you still many more hours, but I know you are very busy. You'll be going to, I don't know, another part of the country. But I really wish that you will come back again, have more time to discover Auroville. And now I request our Jayanti ji to give a small token of love from Auroville. This is the one, yes. Yes. Okay. This is for Ramesh ji.
So we have formally inaugurated the Spic Macay chapter at Auroville with the lighting of the lamp. So let's, without noise, do you just want to clap with your hands, both hands like this? A silent clap. We want to profusely thank Dr. Kiran Seth and the children, all of you, for making this a memorable event, of course, in the presence of Dr. Ramesh, who has recently joined the National Executive of Spic Macay. We have Dr. Shobha and, of course, our own team, Devasmita Sudha, Kiran Bhai Vyas, I presume Miss Vyas as well, Lalitji, I see you there, and a host of other Deven and a bunch of others from Auroville who are also committed to music art. Thank you very much for being here. We'll stop here.
As this is a movement, any of the senior people, because we have inaugurated a chapter, but what is a chapter? Unless some of you give a little bit of your time, delta tending to 0, whatever little time you can give, it'll be really lovely. If you can just send a message to Ramesh, we'll put you in the Spic Macay Pondi group, Pondicherry group. So can you just give your phone number? If you just say the phone number. So
Yeah.
you can put them in. You just give a missed message to them.
My number is 9626 222 222 800. So 9626 222 800.